What life? The straight path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. بِإِذْنِ رَبِّهِمْ, with the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Those people who want to be guided, they will be delivered from the darkness to the light by the will and the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, إِلَى صِرَاطِ الْعَزِيزِ الْحَبِيبِ, to the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as-sirat al-mustaqim, the same sirat, the same path that we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala every time we read Al-Fatiha, we say, اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us by the Quran to be saved. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us that He took the covenant on the people of the book before us, the Jews and the Christians. لَتُبَيِّنُنَّهُ لِلنَّاسِ وَلَا تَكْتُمُونَ, that you explain the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to people, talking about people of knowledge, and don't hide it. فَنَبَذُوهُ وَرَاءَ ظُهُورِهِمْ, they disregarded it. They put it behind them. Yani, they are not adhering to it. And this applies to us. Are we going to take this message and pass it and teach it to other people and show it to other people, or are we going to follow the same path? So a question to ourselves: how is your relationship with the Quran? What do you know from the Quran? And what you know how to read? How much you understand from it? And what from what you understand from, how much you apply? What's hindering you? Why you're not knowing how to read? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us something so special about the Quran. وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلذِّكْرِ فَهَلْ مِن مُدَّكِرٍ. Quran is being facilitated for remembrance. يعني facilitated, يعني whether you speak Arabic or you don't speak Arabic, it's easy. You will learn it and you will understand it, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will help you. So the language should never be a hindrance or an excuse. It's not a valid excuse to say, oh Allah, I don't speak Arabic, that's why I'm not doing it. No, it's facilitated. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you and me and everyone to call one another and to hold to the robe of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Quran is the robe. It came from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the wording. And we read it here. So if I read the Quran, I am connected. The Prophet ﷺ said, it's a robe hanging from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can hold on to it or you can let go of it. It's up to you. You hold on to it, you're holding on to the perfect path. Yani meaning, you understand it, you read it, and you apply it, definitely you're connected and you will go to Jannah, which is the goal that we all seek. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to do that. Not only to yourself, but He wants you to your children. And He wants you to other people's children. And He wants you to participate in everything that related to it. Whether you do it for yourself or for someone else, the same reward. Yani if I spend $1,000 on teaching this young child, I get the same reward as if I spend it on someone else or on myself, because he is the reason. And learning the Quran, every time he or she read or apply, I get the same reward that they do until the day of judgment. Not only them, but everyone they teach also. So brothers and sisters, let's take a reflection. See how most of us hardly influenced by the Quran or act by the Quran. When was the last time you read or you hear Quran and you tear, you cry? When was the last time that your heart trembles? Or you get goosebumps when you hear an ayah? You feel like you're missing out. You're not there. You're not connected. Your heart is hard. You hear the Quran, nothing happens. You read the Quran, nothing happens. It's not touching you. Brothers and sisters, the amazing thing about the Quran, it's your intention. It has so much to do with it. If your intention when you read the Quran, you want to understand it, you will understand it. It will affect you positively. If you read it because you want to see what's wrong with it, it's not going to guide you. Yani two people would read the Quran, one for the intention of guidance and the other one for the intention of fighting problems. One person will be guided, the other person will get even worse. This is the effect of the Quran. If you want it for guidance, it opens every door for you. If you don't want it for that, it even makes you deviate more. That's why you'll find some people, me and you would wonder, you have some people, they learn the Quran for the purpose of calling people against the Quran. And it amazes you. He reads it good, he speaks it good, he understands it good, he talks about it good. How come he's not a Muslim? Shocking, right? It's the intention. Why is he doing all of this? It affects his heart that way. So when I see myself sitting and listening to a qari or reading the Quran and not influenced, I look at myself and I say, what's wrong with me? Why? Most of us, when we see the Imam reciting and maybe crying or something, some of us complain. We start saying, no, we're not coming here to listen to him cry. SubhanAllah, your heart is dead. That dead, you don't even like to see someone influenced by the Quran? Or you see it a problem? Wallahi, this is an emergency treatment that person needs. Wallahi, some people, just like when you injure yourself, you run to the hospital, emergency, and some people wait and go to the doctor. No, this person needs an emergency treatment. You know, when you have a scholar, a knowledgeable person, Maymun ibn Mihrab, he felt hardness in his heart. He just felt he's not anymore touched. And he is the biggest person who is alienating himself from this world and connecting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He felt hardness. He went all the way to Al-Hasan al-Basri radiallahu anhu, and you will not believe it, a long distance, and he is blind. He asked his son to lead him there, just to ask Al-Hasan al-Basri for something to soften his heart. Hasan al-Basri is a great scholar too. So he felt this way and he went with all of this difficulty. Imagine, can I help you? Yes. What do you need? I feel my heart is hard. It's not as soft when I listen to Quran or I listen to the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Help me, please. You imagine? It's not like you're here, you happen to be here, you ask the Shaykh. No, he has to walk a distance and cross a stream of water. His son literally put himself at bridge for his dad to walk over him and cross the water. And you know what he did to him? He just recited one verse. أَفَرَأَيْتَ إِن مَّتَّعْنَاهُمْ سِنِينَ ثُمَّ جَاءَهُم مَّا كَانُوا يُوعَدُونَ مَا أَغْنَىٰ عَنْهُم مَّا كَانُوا يُمَتَّعُونَ. He fainted. Fainted, not cried, fainted to the point Al-Hasan al-Basri could not even wake him up. He left him and he went inside. And the servant told him after he woke up, he told him, get away from here, you bothered the Shaykh. And then when he was leaving, his son said, you know, when you cannot understand why the Shaykh is crying and your heart is not that connected, he looked at his dad and he said, Dad, is that Al-Hasan al-Basri, the one that you always talk about? He said, yeah. He said, that's all he did? Yeah, it's like he did nothing to you. What did he help you with? We're expecting an hour or 2 hours of remedies and food and drink and mix, herbs and whatever, all those people. And he poked his son in his chest. He said, Wallahi, he said an ayah. If it found a receiving heart and good ears, good listening ears and a receiving heart, it will wound you. It will wound you from how powerful that verse was. What's the verse? Do you see? If we give them life, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, if we give them life full of everything they like, and for years and years and years, then death comes to them. That terminates everything. And then hell or heaven. What good that fun years benefit them? Just to get it closer to your understanding. You went yesterday for the best meal ever, in the best restaurant ever. You ate until you're full. Now, what good that meal did to you? As of now, you're hungry now. Thinking about it is going to make you satisfied. Bragging about it is going to make you satisfied. You don't need to eat anymore. Useless. It's like it's gone. It's over. It's no more. This is dunya. This is dunya. It doesn't matter what you have in it. Once you got it, it's gone. The only thing that stays with you is good deed. The only thing. What did you do good? You're going to see it good, and that's the only thing that you would wish that you do so much of. Ali ibn Abi Talib, look what he said. قال ألا أخبركم بالفقيه حق الفقيه. Shall I tell you about the real knowledgeable person? من لم يقنط الناس من رحمة الله. A person who talks about the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and make people optimistic. Especially people who are away and they come to Islam or want to come to Islam or want to come to be good. Yani a sinful person. How are you going to bring him back? You're going to tell him, oh, a'udhu billah, is this what you did? Oh my God, I can't believe you've been doing all of this. Whoa, this person got us. I'm doing. But if you come to him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Habib, is so merciful. You come sincere and you say, Astaghfirullah, and you change your life. Not only He forgives you, but He even changes your sin to good deeds. You're dealing with the most merciful. You bring it. Look at the second. وَلَمْ يُؤَمِّنْهُمْ مِنْ عَذَابِ اللَّهِ. And at the same time, He doesn't tell them, oh, especially when you're dealing with a sinful person. Oh, I'm sorry, a righteous person. You look at that person and you say, oh, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, watch out. Just because you're doing good, don't think that there is, just like I said the other day, one person was arguing and I said, do you believe in heaven and hell? He said, yes. I said, Why you only talk about heaven? Hell is created for who? You ever think of that? Someone has to go there. I don't want to be there. You don't want to be there. No one wants to be there. But some people talk about heaven and forget that there is hell. And people want to do that. A real faqih who says it as is, who doesn't talk and fake. A person came and complained, I believe to Al-Qurtubi rahimahullah, or one of the great scholars. He was complaining about a person. He said, this person, he keeps talking about death and keeps talking about hellfire, and he makes our heart rip from our chest. Look at his answer. He said, a person who scares you until he leads you to salvation is a lot better than a person who gives you safety until you fall in danger. That person is a lot better than the one who tells you heaven and mercy and forgiveness, and he knows that you are far away anyway. And then he continued, وَلَمْ يُرَخَّصْ لَهُمْ فِي مَعَاصِ اللَّهِ. A real faqih is not going to give permission to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Find them reasons and excuses that, oh, you're under pressure. Oh, you are living in a non-Muslim country. Oh, you are this and that. It's okay. That's not bad. Do this and that's not a faqih. A faqih is a person who says it as is, as pleases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. قال, look at this. وَلَمْ يَتْرُكِ الْقُرْآنَ رَغْبَةً عَنْهُ إِلَى غَيْرِ. And he will not leave the Quran because he's interested in something else. What's something else people interested in when they read the Quran? Any musical people here? Music. How many people you find them rejoicing, happy, excited, all night long, no complaints. But when it comes to the Quran, 1 minute extra, they're about to kill the Imam. They would not even come to the masjid. And this, by the way, tells you how devilish those people are. You know why? Because they don't go to another masjid who makes it short. So when you see a minute or two is bothering you from the Quran, but when you go to a wedding, you are willing to sit there for God knows how long, there is a problem in the heart. You need an emergency visit by someone. Actually, you need to walk. Because usually guidance, because sometimes you see a person guiding. And people, what do they say to belittle that? Guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yeah, of course, guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But are you saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala looks at me and said, oh, that one, I want to give him that guidance, but I'm not on this one. Is this how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala deal with people? He looks here. This person wants to be guided. Boom, he gives it to him. He sees that he is sincere and he is following the path and he is trying. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide him. That's why he said, وَيَزِيدُ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ اهْتَدَوْا هُدًى. When you're guided, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you more. Listen to Ali radiallahu anhu. قال ألا لا خير في علم ليس فيه تفهم. There is no goodness in ilm that you don't understand. لا خير في قراءة ليس فيها تدبر. There's no goodness in reading that you don't reflect about the reading. And لا خير في عبادة ليس فيها تفكر. And there is no goodness in ibadah that you don't reflect. يعني read the Quran and you don't understand it. What are you going to do? How are you going to go act upon it? You making a prayer, you're standing in the prayer, you don't understand the Fatiha, you don't know how to read the Tahiyyat. How is that going to give you humbleness or humility or fear or hope or anything? So our life, brothers and sisters, when it comes to the Quran, is disconnected. We have to connect it. And we have to start with ourselves. And we have to worry about our children. And we have to worry about other children. If I know there is a school, I will support the school. If I know there is someone teaching, I will support that teaching. If I know some families cannot afford it, I will help those families, and you get the same reward. You get the same reward for everything they learn. There is nothing. Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that there will be fitan, there will be trials, and they said, "O Prophet of Allah, what do we do?" He said, "Alaykum bi kitabillah." Hold fast to that Quran. أنزلناه إليك لتخرج الناس, to deliver people, Muslim and non-Muslim, believers and not disbelievers, obedient, disobedient, women, slave, masters, it doesn't matter. All will be delivered. This is the Quran that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes the heart happy. If Quran doesn't make you happy, there is a problem with your heart. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us as body and soul. Body, food, and drink will take care of that. Soul, nothing will fill it but faith. Faith, brothers. Nothing. Wallahi, if you own Qarun money, and if you own everything on earth, you have vacancy. In your heart, you feel like devoid, you feel like there's a problem, you don't know what it is. That's fine. That's how you find some people when they come to Islam, it's like, now I can breathe. Even Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala compared the disbeliever the disbeliever to a person with faith. He said it's like someone ascending in the sky. What happens? You start choking, you start panting for air. This is exactly how a person feels when he is disconnected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with the Quran. The first thing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam about the Quran, he said, طه ما أنزلنا عليك القرآن لتشقى. Oh Muhammad, I did not reveal the Quran for you to suffer. I revealed the Quran for you to feel good. That's what we want to do. قولوا قولي هذا. استغفر الله. الحمد لله حمدا يوافي نعمه ويدفع نقمه واشهد ان لا اله الا الله واشهد ان محمدا عبده ورسوله. Quran in our hearts, brothers and sisters, look what Uthman ibn Affan رضي الله عنه said. قال لو طهرت قلوبكم ما شبعتم من كلام الله تعالى. لو طهرت قلوبكم ما شبعتم من كلام الله تعالى. If your hearts are really purified, you will never be satisfied from the Quran. Meaning, you will never cease to stop reading. And when one person asked the Shaykh, Shaykh, how much should I read Quran? You know the answer? As much as you want to be happy. You want to be happy for 2 minutes? Read for 2 minutes. For 1 hour? 1 hour. 1 day? 1 day. What does that mean? It means that reading the Quran makes you happy. It doesn't matter how sad you are, it makes you happy. If you feel like you're not happy, force yourself to read it. If you don't train yourself to do something you don't like so you can tame yourself, you will never succeed in life. If you only do the things that you like, what kind of a person are you? Ibn Baz, rahimahullah, he said, living for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is harder than dying for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You make sense of that? Live your life when you live 50, 60 years striving to be good. It's a lot harder than going and maybe fighting for a little while and dying. I'm not belittling this, but I'm just telling you how hard it is to go against your desires to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a war between you and yourself. If you don't succeed against yourself, you will never succeed against anything else. I cannot expect someone to fight for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when he cannot even fight himself. And he knows himself. He knows what he likes and where and when and how to stop it and all of that and not do it. So brothers and sisters, here in this wonderful masjid, they have Itqan Institute for Quran. All programs. They have full-time, part-time, weekend, holidays, weekdays, online, on-site, everything. And you have many people who cannot really afford attending. So please support the school here and support them with whatever you can. If you have, inshallah, 5 minutes after that, just to support the school, inshallah, we, inshallah, remember that all the rewards and everything that students will learn, it is in your bank. It is in your hasanat, and money comes and goes, but hasanat stays. They go with you to the grave, and they go with you the day of judgment, and they qualify you for Jannah. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks so much about charity in the Quran. You know why? Because everybody believes the Quran. And there's no two different on the Quran. It is the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is true. That's why you have so many ayat says about even loaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala needs a loan from me and you and He gave us everything? But just to show you, He said, مَنْ ذَا الَّذِي يُقْرِضُ اللَّهَ قَرْضًا حَسَنًا. Yani, who is there to give me a loan without conditions? Just His reward. فَيُضَاعِفَهُ لَهُ أَضْعَافًا كَثِيرًا. I'm going to multiply it with so many more. This is exactly what we are, inshallah, asking you to support the school and give loan and for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help the school. جزاكم الله خيرا. اللهم إنا نسألك الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى. اللهم آت نفوسنا تقواها وزكها أنت خير من زكاها أنت وليها ومولاها. اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين وارفع بفضلك كلمة الحق والدين. اللهم فرج عن إخواننا المستضعفين في كل مكان. اللهم كن معهم يا رب العالمين. اللهم أطعم جياعهم واشف عطاشهم وتقبل شهداءهم وارحم موتاهم يا رحمن يا رحيم. اللهم إنا نسألك الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى. يا حي يا قيوم برحمتك نستغيث أصلح لنا شأننا كله ولا تكلنا إلى أنفسنا طرفة عين. وسبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب